All right, so what this conan.py file is going to do is going to define a few functions. So first of all, I'm going to have, let me maybe import subprocess again, and I want to have a main function. I want to call this one generate. So this is like the conan generate function that should generate my conan dependencies. Now, the first thing that I want to do is I want something like subprocess.run, and subprocess.run is going to run my conan command, conan, and the arguments for conan are going to be install into the current directory with, let's take a look at the arguments because I always forget them. Something that you do not need to know. Build is going to be missing, and then I'm going to provide a setting, and the setting is going to be build type debug, right? This is the first command that I want to run. After that, I want to do some to-do, generate a Lua file, and then I want to do a subprocess run again, and now the arguments are going to be the same, but we are not going to do this now with debug. We're now doing this with release, and since this is now code duplication, I want to actually define a function for that, so I want to define a generate, let's call this one run conan command configuration like that. I want to have that in here, and let's now actually cut this in here, and let's provide that one as a format string in here, and let's add the configuration in there. And now the only thing we have to do is actually call this function run conan command for debug. And then we want to run it for release to have these two specifications. And then I also want to generate the Lua file. And actually, I'm going to tell you what, we are not going to generate the Lua file first. We actually want to generate a JSON file first. So generate JSON. So two JSON files. So actually, we're going to concatenate them together. And then finally, we want to generate Lua from JSON. All right. So let's write a function for that. So I'm going to write a new function, def let's call this one generate JSON from conan info. No, conan. Or let's call this one just JSON from conan build info, like that. And that's a function that is not going to take any parameters. Let's put a quick pass in here. And the idea is that we're going to run this one twice. And later on, we're going to have a function Lua from JSON. Because we're going to pass for now. And that's the function that we're going to run down in here. And what we really just care is calling later on the generate function in here that we're going to import somewhere in our dev tool. So run conan. So let's import conan as... No, let's just import, yeah. Let's just import conan and conan dot run, no, dot generate is the function that we want to call. And then this should generate conan first, and then it should run premake, which is the order that we like to do. First, generate all the dependencies, and then run premake. All right, so let's go back to my conan.py and let's start some coding. So first we want to read our conan build info.txt. So with, what was it, fopen, I think, or just open? Yeah, I think it's just open dot slash conan build info.txt as, on a with open as conan file. Is it like that? I know, I haven't used this in a while. I'm not a Python expert. Why is that not working? Okay, so let's ask Google. Python read file line by line to list. This is what I generally want, and maybe we're gonna get it with open file name as file. I did this like that, right? Yeah, but let's copy that line in here. We're gonna... Why is that? Oh, while. Yeah. I need to have the right one. I was a bit confused. So we're not gonna call this one lines, and it's not gonna be like that. It's gonna be for line in that. And what is the difference between rstrip and strip? I think I want to call the normal strip. Yeah, with leading and trailing white spaces removes. What is R strip? Yeah, that's the wrong one. Yeah, we want to do the normal strip, and I do not want to call this one lines. I want to call this one Conan commands, because this will actually going to be commands for Conan. And what I want to do quickly is I want to quickly print my Conan commands so that we can see what's going on. Right, let's press Ctrl C here to get a new line, and then let's quickly run pi./ right, yeah. Let me quickly... No, we can just run our dev to right. Might do a bit more than just printing it, but yeah. Okay, so you can see that it has done a few things. It has actually called Conan in between. This actually works, and you can see that it also printed out some stuff in here. And the first thing that you're going to notice by this print, we can also take a look at the last print, is that we have some empty lines. And I actually want to change that. I'm not quite sure, can I? Maybe let's do this as a double comprehension. Let's say... let's say for L in that, and we're just gonna emit L if len L bigger 0. So only if the length of the line is bigger than 0, we're gonna add this one, and this should stripe out all of the empty ones. And if we take a look at this now, you can see, yeah, no longer we're gonna have some empty lines, and now we're actually gonna have all information that we need. And now what I really want to just do is I actually just want to now transpose this into a JSON file. Now, in general, what I want to do is I want to first read the JSON file. So these are like my Conan commands. What I now want to do is like read JSON. I want to modify JSON. And what I then want to do is I want to save JSON. And now to modify JSON and have two configurations, we actually also need the configuration in here. So let's add the configuration in here, and let's also provide debug and release so that we have some differentiation in here. And now what I want to do quickly is like import JSON, and what I'm going to quickly search is what the best way is to read JSON from Python. Python read JSON file, and read JSON file using Python. So yeah, I don't care what JSON files are. I know what this is. JSON load file object is what I want to do. Now let's try this one out. So we need another JSON file. So we're gonna have a with open dot slash I think we should have provided something like read here as well. But I don't know, what file modes are we going to use? Is there like an example? What's the best way here for... I think by default it's using read, so I might not change that one here because it already works, and I do not want to build myself some more steps to fall. Open data.json. Yeah, but they are not writing it. That's a problem. It's just reading JSON. Okay, let's try to be lucky. Nah, of course not. Write JSON file Python. Yeah. Python. That's what I wanted to look up. So how do I write this? Yeah, it's probably json.dump, but I do need this as a write flag. Yeah, okay, that was something that I probably would do. But do I need read and write? No, let's just try write, because it should have read as well. JSON file. And I also, again, have written while, because I am a C++ developer. Let's call this one Conan build info.json. Even it's not generated from Conan. Conan build info.json as blah blee there. Then these are going to be in here. And what I now want to do is I want to read this. Now it is like json.load, and then I load this like from the JSON file. Then I'm going to call this one build info equals json.load, and now I then need to modify it, and then I need to save it. Now saving is going to be probably simple.dump. I hope that you're going to overwrite this, but we're going to see. And now we need to modify this. How do I going to modify this? I'm going to modify this for CMD in Conan commands. I'm going to do something, and I want to have something like jctx equals null, or none, I think it's in Python. And for each of these comments, I want to do something. Now, what can a comment be? A comment can either be a value or it can be like a key. A key starts with opening a bracket. So if cmd at 0 is going to be equal to an opening bracket, then this one is going to be a new context. And else it's going to be some value. And else actually, no, is it elif in Python? Elif jctx not none. I want to do something and everything else is like invalid and I'm just going to do nothing. Because only if the context is valid, I can actually work with it. Not none, does it not work? Elif, j, yeah, it should work like that actually. Now, what I first want to do is I want to have like the key name. Let's do something like key name, and key name is going to be equal to cmd. Now, what I want to do is I want to start at the first one, I think, and then I do something like -1. Does it work? I want to start with 1 and go to the last one. I know. Let's print this out quickly. Something like key name to see if that brings me what I want to have. What? Not readable. Yeah, okay. Read write. Then it's going to be something like that, right? No. What is that? How can I create, read, write, append? What? Can I not read and write from one file? What the hell, Python? What? No, this can't be. Python, file, read, write. Read and write R+. Okay. So why is it not? Yeah, why it's not write plus? Yeah, right. Let's see if does it work. Yeah, no. Why? Why do you not work? Okay, it doesn't work because the file has not JSON in it. Okay, that makes sense. So how can I? Okay, so if the file does not exist, we need to catch this. So create file if not existing. So how can I create a file if it's not existing? All right, Python create file if not existing with content. Content. Can I do this? Open a Python. No, I wanna. Yeah, like there's like an OS path exists, I think. Come on. So like Python create file if not exist. Okay, now we're gonna do this differently. We're gonna do this Python check if file exists. I think it's OS path exists or something. Can already peek there in here. Is file? Nah. I do not care if it is a file. Let's try this out. I think like let's try it quickly import OS. I think it's OS file exists or something like that. So if os.file. No. OS dot is a no. OS dot. Okay, interesting. I thought there was some OS file exist. Python OS file existed. Oh, something like that. And it loads forever with ads. I like that. Come on, give me something. Yeah, no, I'm not going to do this with exceptions, right? This is some bad stuff. Okay, so I need os. Why do you use isFile? I don't care. Yeah, we're going to use isFile. That is the one that I want to do. Just exist. Just a basic exist. So os.path. That's bad. Why do I not be able to do this without os.path? I hate it. Python is sometimes a bit odd. Like I love C++ with proper namespaces. So /conan built-in for .json. That's the file that we want to read. If not OS path exists with open. I could have copied the JSON file as well. And again have written while with. And now just write. Then I can do something like JSON file dot write, and then I can just provide a string, which is an empty JSON object, and I'm done. And now this should be good. Now I could be able to delete this. And now it should work, right? Okay, no, it does not. Oh, it worked, yeah. But, oh yeah, because I have... The dump is different. You need to have the object first and then the file. So what is the object? The JSON, build info. So build info and then the file. However, what you can do is we have some text that we have received, and this is actually the proper keys that we were looking for. So this actually means that this is working. Now, actually, what I do need to do is I actually need to now make sure that actually the value is there, because actually what I want to have is in Conan build info.json, I want to have some JSON structure, something like debug. And then I'm going to have all the debug configuration in here. And I want to have release. And then I want to have the release configuration here. This is the layout that I want to have in the JSON file. And that is the something that we need to assert. So what I actually need to do is I want to get release debug section. So I think build info dot yeah, let's quickly check this one. Python dict key exists. So let's quickly check if a key exists in dict.key. So how it is it in D? If key in D. So we can just say if, okay, so we can see if configuration in build info. So if the configuration is in here, or we could in this case actually check if it's not in here, because then I want to say build info.append maybe. Is it called append? Not quite sure. And the general idea is that I want to append something. So can we append? No, I don't think that we even need to append, because I think we can just say build info configuration equals that. I think this should be possible, and then I can say configuration build info equals build info configuration. This should work. C++, maybe it would even work to just have that one line, but that one is super safe. Let's test that out. What is this doing? All right, it does something and it failed. Okay, what is it? Interesting, it directly appended it there. That is definitely not what I wanted. It somehow has done something. Oh, it has appended it to the end. Okay, so before I save that, actually, can I trunk the file? Truncate? Does it work, or is it... No. Okay, yeah, of course, now it's starting at the wrong start, but if I remove it like that, is it working now? Yeah, now it is working. No, it's not working. It's doing the same thing. All right. So Python clear file. So how can I clear file? How to erase file contents? Truncate 0. Okay, so we need 0 in here as a parameter in the truncate function. That is some odd stuff that you need to do for Python. So where's my truncate? conan.py, truncate is here. So let's add some 0 in here, which should get us rid of the error. Yeah, no. Interesting. Why do we have null in here? Now this is looking quite well, but we have null in here. So if we are truncating the file, can we... Okay, so Python set file pointer. Because we need to set maybe the... Okay, it's a seek function. That makes sense. So now we have truncated the content. However, the file pointer is still like at the end. Now we just need to make sure that they also start writing at the first thing. So JSON file seek to 0, I think. Can we do this to 0? Seek to the end of the file. It's probably just seek to 0. Yeah. Moving the file handle to the end of the file. Beginning of the file. Yeah, beginning of the file, not end. I'm a bit of an idiot, but this should now solve both problems that we have. Yeah, we do no longer get some errors. And this file should now have debug and release in here, both with some brackets. So now we have like a debug and release configuration. Now the only thing they have to do is actually fill them. How do I gonna do this? Well, we first need to set this JSON context. If we have a new key, we actually gonna set this JSON context to the key name. So this is gonna be the same one in here. If configuration in build info. No, it's not gonna configuration, it's gonna be key name. If key name in configuration build info. So if the key is already existing, we are gonna overwrite this and completely clear it. So how can I remove something from a dict? That's a big question. Dict, remove key. How can I remove a key from a dictionary? Delete. Oh, we can just, no. Okay, pop. We need to do it with pop and none, whatever none is doing. So we want to do something like configuration build info dot pop key name. What was it? None, I think. Pop none. So this is basically removing it. So removing the old key, and now we just need to insert an empty one. So key name, no, configuration build info at key name is going to be equal to a empty list in Python, like that. We're just going to add some empty entry in here, and then I can say the J context, so the current context that there we are, is going to be set to the key name, right? So we clear it, we got to create it with an empty list, so an array. And then we're going to set the context to that one so that we can later on pass in data in here. Let's quickly test that out, how that does. It's not going to give us some output. However, if I take a look at the JSON file, you can see now that I have all of these keys. Actually, can I format this correctly? How can I do this? JSON.dump. Can I... Is there something like indent? Yeah, let's do something like indent 4, I think. And this should give us some formatted JSON that we can take a look at a bit better. All right, there we go. Now we have a proper file. Now you can basically see that we have like debug, include directories, library directories. They are all in here, but they do not have any values. Everything that is kind of like in our Conan info has been written in here in this JSON file for debugging and release. And now we just need to fill these values, and we are filling them with the JSON CTX. This one is very simple. I'm just going to say JSON CTX append. And what I'm going to append is the CMD. And that's the only thing that I need to do really with the context. And if I run it and take a look at the build info.json, we should have some data in here. No, we do not have data in here. Elif else. Let's quickly do an else statement. And then a if jctx not none. No, not JSON, not none. JCTX, not none. Why does it not none work? Not equal none. Is that working? Yeah, that is working. All right, and now you basically can see that we have all the content that we previously had in here is now properly written out there inside of this JSON file. So now we have the include directories, the library directories, build directories. We have the setlab in here, everything that we need, the names, the libraries. It's all in this nice little and friendly JSON file that is now 204 lines long. But we really don't care about the length of this file. However, what we got is we got a proper JSON file with all the information from Conan for debugging and release. So now we have all information that we need to actually generate our Lua file. So that function is done, that function is done. Now the only thing left to do is write our Lua from JSON file function. What I quickly want to do is I want to quickly ignore this because, well, we don't need our Conan build info.json. It's not required. Conan build info.json. It's generated by our Python script, so that's good. All right, so now let's actually write the Lua function. So first of all, I want to open the JSON. So with now properly open /conan build info.json as readable or read mode as JSON file. Then I want to say JSON equals JSON data, or let's call this build info equals JSON.parse. Wasn't that JSON parse? JSON.load. Why is it called dump? Yeah, I don't care. I don't care why they do it. JSON file. There we go. Now this should have been read onto here. And now the theory is... Yeah, we're just gonna leave this file open until we are done. Then I'm gonna say with open dot slash conan build info.lua is gonna be my output file .lua, and I'm gonna write to that here as lua file. I want to say like lua file dot truncate 0. Yeah, okay, truncate is with 0, and say something like lua file. Yeah, I think truncating is enough because I should be at the start of the file because I'm not appending. This should be 100% safe, I think. And now what I want to do is I want to output some data. So what I do want to do is I want to print some stuff. I'm actually going to print like that, and I'm going to print a format string. Now, what I'm going to print here is, yeah, maybe let's write a subfunction for that one as well. Let's call this one Lua print configuration, or let's call this just data. It's going to print out the configuration for our file. And what I want to do is I want to do like Lua print configuration for build info debug. And, oh, no, that's not what I want to do. Debug and release. And what I also want to do is I want to give some information if it's debug or release. So let's make a first parameter here as well and have something like debug in here. And since premix tends to use lowercase, release here. Let's call this one configuration and data. So now we have the configuration and proper data that I need. And now we can print this. So how I want to do this? Oh, of course, I also need the file. So let's add something like f for file here. And let's also pass in the file here. So Lua file is what we need there as well. And I think it's then going to be f.write, or was it write? What was it? Lua file dot write, I think. Yeah, and that's the string that I want to write. That's exactly how it should go. So I want to do an f.write, and I want to write a format string with the simple thing. And what I want to do is first want to write configuration. That's going to be the name, and then it's going to be underscore. And now what I want to do is I want to have include or debug conan include deers. So the conan include deers, they're going to be equal to. Now this is always something that's a bit going to be odd. If you're going to use curly brackets in format string in Python, you need to do it like that, because yeah, it's going to be format. The curly brackets are going to be used for formatting. Then I'm going to use that one dot join, and what I'm then going to join in is data include deers. I don't know, how was it written? Include deers like that, and we do probably need to do it. So include deers. Now they need to be in quotation marks. So what I want to do is I first want to comprehentiate them together, like that. So for ln data, it's gonna be quotation mark plus L plus quotation mark. And that's a good starting point to start, but we probably need to adapt this. Okay. F-string expression part cannot include a backslash. Yeah. So we actually need to do some more madness. We need to use actually the normal quotations there, which means that we need to use normal quotations here. And this means that we need to use simple there. It is a madness. Python is at many points a big, big madness. But hey, so that's okay for us because we can handle it. No, right? This is a beginner's tutorial series, and I'm probably doing way too much advanced stuff. So feel actually free to skip that. I cannot. Missing close bracket? What? Oh well. What is the problem of that now? Can I not join a string like that? Okay, I might need to steal some code from some other Conan Python shit that I have written. Let me quickly steal some other code. Where is my... there should be a generator for producers for pre-make. And how did I write that? Produce Lua. How did I... Oh my goodness, it's so... That's a madness. Produce Lua array. I have a nice produce Lua array function. How did I place that one? I have include use extend. Because, yeah, I've done this in a double build step. But the general idea is the same. The idea is that I generate that expression. And it's not X, it's going to be L replace. It's just some backslash replacing that I've done. But I cannot, okay, I can maybe, okay, we need to maybe do this in 2 steps. That might be a thing because we can do this. Okay, so let's do this in 2 steps. Let's do that one in its own step. And then later on join in this later. Okay, so let me quickly get rid of all of that and just be left with these 2s. And we're going to write this in 2 steps. So let's call this one Lua strings. And Lua strings are going to be produced differently. So how I'm going to produce them, it's going to be simple. That's going to be copy and paste from there. It is going to be that format. And it's going to be L replace for L in data. And okay, it's gonna be, yeah, we need to write this in a different function. Let's write a diff Lua emit array. So file name and data is gonna be the array that's been emitted, and we gotta put that code in there. And this is the Lua strings that are being generated. Or maybe let's just do this as a Lua string. And this Lua string are gonna be .join. It's gonna be joined by that, and it's gonna be joined by comma space. It's gonna be a quotation mark, everything replaced from data. That's now the Lua string, and the Lua string is gonna be added in here like that with the brackets. And it's not going to be configuration here. That's something that needs to go in lower. It's going to be here the name. And Lua emit array is then going to be simply... It's going to be simply be, first of all, a file. Then we're going to have the name. It's going to be a format string. No, do not intend this one. A format string of configuration underscore Conan include tiers, include directories, and the data is going to be data from include directories, and this should now hopefully do its trick. And now we have a Conan build info.lua. And this one should just have a debug Conan. Okay, we forgot the new line. That's something that you always need to make sure that you have. Let's add the new line in here. Conan build info.lua. Now we have like debug Conan include tiers, release Conan include tiers, and we should have an array out of 2 strings, which is correct. These have been emitted correctly. And now we can start on emitting all the other important stuff. Now what is also important? Let's maybe add a few of them in here. Let's take a look at the JSON file, what we need. Now the JSON file Include directories has also lib directories and libs. I think like lib directories, libs, system libs, and defines are important. So libdirs, libs, system libs, I think. System, was it underscore libs? Yeah, underscore. We're gonna have libs and libdirs, and then we need the defines. 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 No, just defines, not system defines. All right, and this should now emit all important information into our Lua file. And if I now take a look at the output Lua file, conan build info.lua, we should have the libs, system libs, libs, system libs, defines, lib directories, include directories. Now these are now all some proper Lua style data that we need. Now, of course, this is also generated depending on the system, so it should be git ignored. Let's add this one in here. Conan build info.lua. That's something that we also do not need. And after a lot of Python mangling, we are ready to use it. And again, you can use my conan.py. I might add a bit of the mid license on top of that file so that you can simply just reuse that file. It's going to be simple, right? I mean, it's Python. It's actually quite short for what it does, right? Because it's Python and it's nice for managing your repository. It's not that hard to understand, right? So, yeah, but you do not need to understand it.